welcome to another video. I just wanted to do a quick catch up from where I left off in the last video. In the last video I mentioned I was going to add some more media to the pond in the top tier of the shower, ready for when the new sturgeon come in a couple of weeks. The new media has arrived and it's again the lotus root. I'm not going to go into any detail on the lotus root because I did the previous video, I think it was 2 years ago now, so I don't think I need to go into any more detail. If you're interested in that, I'll try and put a link here somewhere. Go back and watch that. It goes into a bit more detail on the size, shape of it and why I prefer using it. One thing I am going to do is, after realising that previous video was around 2 years ago, is get an older piece out from the top tier of the shower and do a comparison of how it's held up compared to a new piece. Has it got any smaller with erosion? Has it changed in colour much? Is it any more fragile, and etc. So hopefully that'll be quite interesting, just to have a good look at how it's changed. But also, now I've got a box and I know exactly how many come in a box, I'm going to do a bit of maths to try and figure out how many boxes it takes to fill a tier up. Hello, we're now at the pond and we're just about to look at the lotus root media. I took some pieces out of the filter for a comparison. As you can see, there's no erosion on the diameter of it. Looks solid, not missing anything, so give you a good look at what they're like. It's just darkened in colour here. Obviously that one's wet and this one's dry at the minute, but even so, if this one was wet it wouldn't be that dark, to give you an idea. There's a bit of muck on it and obviously from the filter, but other than that it's okay. I've took the plastic sheathing off. You could leave this on, I don't think it makes any real difference really, but I choose to leave it on. And I'm going to put this in the filter, and I've recorded how much it takes to do each layer within the filter, so we should be able to get a pretty good idea now of how much it needs to fill a whole section of the filter, and how much, if you had a 4-tier filter, how much you'd need. Okay, so I'm inside now and I've done some quick numbers on how much I could possibly squeeze into the filter. As you can see, I've got 5.5 pieces from one front to the back, 6 high and 6 in depth, which gives you a total of 198 in one section of the shower. I do think though at the end, on the top, you'd be able to squeeze in an extra 7th row, because I think there's obviously the shower gets slightly wider as you get near the top, so I think you'd be able to fit a 7th in, which would mean on that 7th row you'd fit in an extra 5.5, so I've took it up to 203.5. I think I think you'd actually get a fair bit more of that in, actually, especially if you had some small odds and sods. So I think that's quite an underestimate and a reserve number, but I think it's good to go with for now. But I think to be safe, you could easily get that to 110. What I've done then is divided that by 24, which is the number in a box. So you'd need a total of 8.5, just under 8.5 boxes to do a full tier of the shower. Which means at what I've paid, which is £73.95, it takes £628 to fill a complete tier. And for the whole, if you had a full 4-tier shower of a standard Momotaro backy shower, you need 34 boxes, which is it's over £2,500, which is obviously a hell of a lot of money. But looking at how it's weathered now over 2 years under the shower, I'm quite impressed with the fact it hasn't eroded. That was my main worry, that I'd be spending the money on putting the media in, and within a few years it's crumbled down to nothing and I'd have to constantly keep topping it up. But as you can see previously, when I put them side by side, I couldn't visibly see any difference between the two of them. So it means, look, I mean, that's over the 2-year point. So hopefully now everything that goes in there, once it's full, it's full. I won't have to constantly keep topping it up. Obviously that's only over 2 years. Obviously over the very long term I don't know yet, but I can't foresee in the foreseeable future it's suddenly disintegrating at a higher rate. So hopefully we're good for a good 5 to 10 years, and we'll see how we go at that point. But at that point we've had a good fair bit of use out of it. Obviously if you've got a different size backy shower or shower in general, you'll have to obviously custom it to your own. But what I want to do next is possibly try and get hold of a standard size lotus root media, which is the large diameter, and do the same kind of figures on that to work out how much of that would get in the shower, and given its weight, how much less of the larger diameter lotus root could you actually get within the shower compared to the smaller diameter lotus root. And possibly a similar comparison for the Bacchias media as well. I know the diameter of that and what length it comes in, but it just means I'd have to possibly take the tier apart to get to the bottom tier to measure a piece, because I don't know immediately. But if I could do that, I could work out pretty conclusively just how much of the smaller diameter media you can get in, and do a weight for weight comparison to find out actually how much you can get in, and is it worth it or not. It is obviously quite an expensive way of doing it, but as I said previously, it's only kind of a once job. I mean, if you're forking out money on showers and drum filters and things like that, it's in the realms of that kind of money anyway. So I think if you wanted to spend that much money on your fish, you can. But the other good thing is, like with me, I've only got 2 tiers, and to be fair, the first tier was the only one that was filled to begin with. So it's not my only biological media. I've got other to rely on. So I've just been topping it up and gradually increasing it box at a time. I think over the last 4 to 5 years now, that's 5 boxes I've put in. So on top of the Bacchias media I had when I come, I think I put two and a half boxes in the first tier now to make that completely full, mixed in with the Bacchias media. And now there's 2.5 boxes in the second tier. So another 5 boxes and we should be good to then fill the second tier, and then I've just got to make the decision if I want to add a third or a fourth tier on it. But I'll just keep checking the water parameters and we'll go from there. I hope this video has been somewhat useful for you. I know it's a bit maths and a bit boring, and a lot of you have probably turned off by now because of the maths, but I just thought it'd be useful to get to the nitty gritty of it and just to crunch some numbers. But if you like the video, please drop it a like, subscribe if you can, please, it's much appreciated. And hopefully we'll have one in about probably around 2 weeks' time on possibly the new sturgeon, maybe 3, but hopefully not be too long. So thank you for watching.